All right. 3, 2, 1. It looks like we are going live right now. Just want to welcome everybody. Thanks for watching us, and let me mute my. So welcome to another Sippin' Through Social Isolation. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had one of these things, but we just kind of like to get together and sip a little bit of whiskey and chat and see what everybody's up to. Give you a little something to do during this time of uncertainty, I guess you would call it. I know a couple of people now, a couple personally who've been diagnosed positive, and a good friend of mine's father was diagnosed positive about an hour ago. So, this is kind of affecting everybody. And I'm in Kentucky, where not a whole lot of people are, not a whole lot of positives here so far. So,
well, I'm in one of the epicenters of the U.S. right now, so pretty scary. Everybody.
Well, let's we're waiting on a couple other of our folks to sign in here, but we can go ahead and get started without them. So I'm Bill Straub. I'm the editor of Modern Thirst and one of the founders, and I'm here in Louisville, Kentucky, and I am in my basement cave, kind of a bunker, I guess you would say. But I'm sipping on, I've got a whole slew of bottles. Most of them are Four Gates over here just because I was pouring some media samples earlier, but I'll be sipping through all sorts of different things later.
I'll be right back. Hold on just a second.
And I'm Matt with Modern Thirst, and I put my nickname up there today, Gator. You can call me either. I won't mind. But I'm here in my new home office, working from home like everybody else is now. Things are going pretty well. I decided to open a barrel-proof Elijah Craig that I've been staring at for a while, so I decided to sip on that tonight.
That happens to be one of them that I have out here today, and that will play into our broadcast a little bit later. So,
perfect.
Nick, tell us who you are, where you are, and what you're up to.
I am Nick, kind of the general jack of all trades, master of none when it comes to spirits, but here in Houston, Texas, the epicenter of the coronavirus in Texas, and kind of sipping on a Manhattan made with my local Houston Yellow Rose Rye, and just kind of trying to get through it, man.
Matt, which one of the barrel proofs did you have there? ECBP.
It's the B519.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just opened it. I had another unopened one that's newer. The newer one is a higher proof. I don't remember the batch number.
They are definitely creeping back up the last 2 or 3 releases, back up into that hazmat type of territory, which I love.
I do too.
I'm starting out with a Four Gate Foundation. This is batch 5. We got a lot of finished whiskey over here from Four Gate and a couple of them that aren't. And I figured I'd start with the stuff that isn't finished and then work my way up to the more exotic stuff, I guess, later. But speaking of Four Gate Foundation, we have Modern Thirst Challenge coins for anyone who's watching. And we're going to be doing a drawing a little bit later for the people who've already bought our coins. And we've got a couple of samples to give out today. One of them is this Elijah Craig batch A120. We've got a 2-ounce sample of that ready to go out today. And the other one is right before the lockdown, I happened to be in Bardstown, and I picked up one of the later Heaven Hill Select stocks. And this is an interesting one. Very strange. I've only had like a little sip of it so far, but it's a Kentucky straight bourbon finished in a used coffee barrel. So we've got a sample of that to give out today. To win this, these we're going to do every one of our casts. We'll give away some samples of stuff. But all you have to do is buy a coin. So go to ModernThirst.com/shop. They're $10. If you have a coin, it's got a number on it. I'm keeping track of everyone who buys one, what your number is, what your name is, what your email address is, all that fun stuff. And we'll do the drawings randomly a little bit later during this broadcast for those 2 samples. Once all the coins are sold, we're going to give away absolutely free, if you've bought the coin, a bottle of Four Gate Foundation. That's the Black Label Batch 5. Just received a 93 rating. We just got that today from Whiskey Advocate. And that makes 4 for 4 for us for 90 points or better on Whiskey Advocate. We're pretty happy about that. But those are $200 bottles. We'll give that whole bottle away free of charge to somebody who owns one of our coins once they're all sold out. So ModernThirst.com/shop if you want to buy one of those, and that gets you your chance. You can buy more than one. There's a couple of people who bought 2, and one guy bought 3, I know. So some folks are trying to get in on that.
Great prizes for sure.
Yeah. And then every time we do one of these, until those are sold out, and probably even after, we'll be giving away different samples. I've got a couple of Four Gates over here. I want to send some samples out, particularly one that's not going to come out until this summer of our straight rye whiskey. So yeah, we'll definitely try to get that one in there.
And Bill, to let you know, I did get your present in the mail today, and I do appreciate that. That is wonderful.
Yep.
I haven't cracked it open yet, but I do plan to soon.
Okay. And I see Bill Scott has joined us. Bill, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you're drinking.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry about being late. My name is Bill Scott. I'm with Modern Thirst, and tonight I am drinking. I actually went back to an Old Faithful. I figure this is time for comfort food, so I'm sticking with my my good old favorite Bananas Foster version of the Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style.
That's one of my favorites.
Good call.
Love that whiskey.
Yeah, I could probably buy 10 bottles of it and not ever worry about getting tired of it.
Awesome. Well, that kind of covers the first two things, who we are and what we're drinking right now. We also talked about the coin contest. So again, ModernThirst.com/shop. Look for those coins if you want to get in on the drawings. We're going to be giving out a bunch of samples and maybe a few other things between now and the grand prize drawing, which will happen whenever we sell out of those coins, and that'll be that whole bottle of Foregate. In the meantime, what are you guys? This has been kind of a weird time for everybody. What are you guys doing these days? How are you coping with all of this? Most of it, a lot of us have jobs that we can't do anymore. A lot of people have to adjust their jobs to no more face-to-face meetings. And then a lot of people are spending a lot more time around their family and kids than they were ever used to before. So what are you guys up to? How are you coping here?
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. Learning to work from home. I used to drive probably 100 miles a day for meetings and so forth, and I'm learning new skills to keep me at home. So it's actually something I probably should have learned years ago. But so the job front, things are going fine there. But yes, the kids are home and they're doing the homeschool and so forth. But I've been lucky enough that they are, the family's been helping, and they are pretty good independently. The biggest problem is they're asking for sweets all the time, but I'm thinking about bourbon all the time, so it evens out.
Makes sense.
Hilarious.
Nick, what's going on with you these days?
Well, I'm actually kind of a lucky person in this whole thing. I kind of work from home predominantly anyway. I'm kind of a systems engineer right now for a company by the name of DXC, who does high-level contracts with HP and HP Enterprise, along with a few other companies. So I kind of already was doing that, so this didn't really change my lifestyle so much. And I don't have too much of an issue hanging out with the boys. They can get a little bit rambunctious, but they're boys, so kind of expected. But it has changed a lot for my wife. She has been working predominantly in the office prior to this, and now she's been at home. And thankfully, I'm in IT. I was able to help her get everything set up the way she needed to be done from home. But it's been really more or less the same for me, to be honest. Except for that, my oldest is not in school right now, so that's pretty much it. Not too bad, About the same as really, I would imagine. I'm happy to have a job. I'm happy to have my family here. Things are not so much crazier as they usually are. So
I hear you. Bill Scott.
Yep. So things are a little insane up here in Michigan. I don't know if y'all have paid attention, but we're definitely making the news in terms of for a whole lot of reasons, not the least of which is possible our governor happens to be running for the slot of vice president of the United States. But we've been in shutdown like a lot of the country. They've ramped some things up, so things are a little different around here right now. If you have a vacation property, you're not supposed to travel to it. You're not allowed to leave your house for a whole lot other than your basic essentials. We have the same issues with the kids being home. Schools are effectively shut down for the rest of the school year, although they're saying that the year will still count. It's not like it's canceled, so everybody's still going to school remotely. And that also makes for some interesting challenges as well, like who gets to use the bandwidth for their Zoom meeting, my daughter or me or my wife. But it's we're getting by. We've got we got very lucky, I think, in a lot of regards. My wife still has her job for the most part, even though she works for a gym organization, and they're really shut down. but she, she's working on the plans for helping them stand back up when this thing all is passed. And in my job, I'm actually very, very lucky. We do digital animation and CGI and 3D assets for companies that make things. And I think what we're transitioning into is a world where a lot of people, even after this is all passed, won't want to go into Walmart or won't want to go into Best Buy or your regular retail store to go buy a product. They're going to want to be able to engage with that online. And so my company, we're uniquely positioned to help organizations do that. We already do that with companies like Ford and Whirlpool. So that's we're busy. I'm actually busier than I have been in a long time. So we're counting ourselves as blessed.
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
Very good. So anybody picked up any new hobbies or any weird little habits or anything to kind of cope with all of this? One thing I did, I cut my own hair really for the first time since I was probably in college.
No one can tell, Bill. It's cool.
That's why I'm wearing the headset. And I'm going to keep my picture small in the corner there so you can't see me. Bill, I'm glad to see you shaved. Or did you? It's kind of hard to tell there.
No, there was not much beard there. The fact of the matter is the difference between COVID beard Bill and this guy right here. I mean, it's like 4 hairs. I mean, I could name them, but I'm much happier not having it than having it. I don't wear the beard well, so this works out.
I can grow a beard, but I decided that I wanted to keep things as normal as possible, and just I'm still doing these meetings, so I might as well look like myself. And got back to getting on the spinning bike too. I used to be a pretty regimented with my workouts and so forth, but got away from that. But that's one positive. I have time to get up and get on the spinning bike every morning now.
Nick, what you picked up anything new? Any hobbies?
Much of the same. I'm a musician as one of my hobbies, so we can do that kind of thing remotely. You just record a track, send it on. So that didn't really change a whole ton, other than that we're not face to face right now. Been cooking a lot, making some interesting stuff. It's one of my passions. I really love to cook. So I've been doing a bit more of that than maybe I would normally do, and maybe taking on some things that are much more challenging than things I've cooked in the past. But yeah, that and like just playing games, like not really much else to do. So I've been playing a lot of PS4 and PC lately, and enjoying the time that I have. And really, I guess that's about it. And yeah, we've been making a lot of cocktails lately. And in fact, maybe that's kind of an extension of the cooking thing, because we've been making some stuff that maybe we've never made before, So fun times though. Yeah.
The only new thing I've done is I have one of those rollout putting mats, just 6 feet wide or so, that I usually will roll it out occasionally in the summer and putt a little bit on it. And I actually bought one of the chipping mats, so I have it on the other end of my basement, and I have some foam golf balls that I'm chipping about 30 feet across my basement onto the green. So I expect when all this is lifted and I go back to the golf course, and my short game will be fucking awesome.
Perfect.
Timothy Van Riper, welcome to the stream.
What's up, Tim? How you doing, bro?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome.
What's up, Timmy?
Hey.
So Tim,
Welcome.
Yes.
Timothy Van Riper, Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
What you drinking?
Actually, right now I'm drinking wine currently.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, Chris gave me a really nice bottle of Chardonnay to have tonight, and so it got opened about 20 minutes ago, and I have a little bit left.
My wife really drinks either occasional beers, but almost predominantly wine these days. So we drink a lot of red and white wine, and she's even gotten into rosé after all these shows on Bravo have been big on rosé. But yeah, I've
what shows are those?
To be fair, I have been drinking almost every day during this shutdown, even if it's just a couple. And I honestly, for a while, was a little burned out on beer and bourbon. So there were 2 or 3 nights in a row where we just split a bottle of white wine, chilled white wine. It was fantastic. So
y'all ever mix it with seltzer?
We never have. We never made really call it a spritzer or whatever.
Yeah, I love them, man.
We haven't, but she even has a couple of sparkling rosés and stuff, so she can do something like that if she wants to.
That's a fun fact about me. I really love. They call them it's Hungary Fretch, or the rest of Europe about it. Spricket. And I love those, man. Those are great.
Spricket.
Spricket.
So in the 90s, we used to make fun of blush wines and spritzers, and now they have fancier names and we're drinking them again.
Yeah, it's true. Just don't go to White Zinfandel.
Some of us still make fun of them.
A box of wine, and styrofoam cups.
It's all good. It's all good. No, we so yeah, I enjoy wine. We were so my 10th anniversary was on the 9th, April 9th.
Congratulations, by the way.
We were actually supposed to leave today and go to Napa to celebrate our 10th anniversary. So
Cool.
we're supposed to be in California right this second, sitting somewhere really cool and sipping some California red, but I'm not, thanks to this fucking virus. So
That's actually
not
not where you
bitter.
want to be right now anyway. So
I'm not bitter or anything, but
No, why would
I'm
you
in
be?
my basement with a curtain behind me so you can't see the mess of my room.
Why would you be bitter about that? I mean, I haven't been bitter since they canceled the NCAA tournament, so I mean, we're good.
Speaking of that, how
Sports.
has the lack of sports affected you guys? It's killing me.
It's terrible. That really is the reason that every day feels the same, because there's nothing different to look forward to on the TV. Like it's the same Netflix every night. There's no
same
sports.
Netflix, same boring speech from Bashir. Like it was real entertaining the first couple of weeks, but now, man, come on. I need some excitement in my life.
Yeah, I agree with that. I even take to watching. Have you guys seen this thing they're doing? MLB is doing the show where they have their own. They have major league players, like one from every team, playing that MLB The Show video game on live stream against each other. So it's the closest thing to live sports. I bet I've spent 2 hours watching it, and I can't figure out who's who or who's actually playing what team when I watch it. I don't know what's going on except some semi-realistic computer players are hitting baseballs, and it's almost making me feel better about life.
Hockey's been doing that with NHL. Like they've been doing, I think would it be NHL 20? Yeah, NHL 20, and they're just like the teams that was supposed to be playing, they virtually put them up head to head, and that's all. That's been the gist of my sports. I never thought I would say that I actually miss like other sports, because I'm usually just a hockey guy and I kind of talk shit on all the other sports. But I'll tell you what, I could go for any kind of sports right now.
I would watch anything. I know that the Korean Baseball League played some games in empty stadiums, and it's driving me nuts that MLB TV or no one put it on, no one televised it. Like, please, God, I don't even care who the teams are. You don't even have to subtitle it in English. Just give me a sport, something that I don't know the outcome of.
Sure.
I like to watch.
Yeah.
And this kind of didn't change for the virus, but it kind of increased. You guys ever follow Simulation Football League?
Never heard of it.
There's
No.
a league out there. It's a real league, and like you can submit yourself to be a player. You can submit yourself to be a coach or an owner, even. It's like very small buy-ins or whatever, but they make enough money, I guess, that they're able to keep it afloat. But it's literally like they simulate football games on this old NFL All-Star or All-Pro football 2K8, and they made up all these fictional teams or whatever, and I don't know. It's actually pretty damn entertaining, and I've been watching a lot of that because my brother has been hanging out a lot. We've also been watching a lot of wrestling, I've noticed too. And I'm not really the hugest fan of wrestling, but when you got nothing else, WrestleMania actually is halfway entertaining.
Dude, WrestleMania is amazing.
Well, and I didn't watch it the first time, so basically I have no idea how it turns out with Hulk and any of those guys. So he's still a guy, right? No, yeah, the Hulk. That's right. Yeah, no, he was a
Incredible.
anyway. Andre the Giant? No.
What was Andre the Giant has some kind of ridiculous record for drinking beers. I can't remember how many it is. There's some kind of legendary story about how many cases.
It was a whole keg of beer.
It wasn't like
Did he
127
really?
or something like that.
Yeah, didn't he not live real long? So
Well, he did.
He-
Yeah,
He did not.
he did. Pass
no.
Tim,
Yeah,
what have
but
you
at
moved
least he
on
got
to there?
Princess
That's
Bride
that's
out.
not wine I see there.
Okay, so I switched to Elijah Craig. It's a single barrel, and this is Silver Dollar number 2. Silver Dollar number 2 is 10 years, 6 months, and it is like a freaking caramel explosion. It is so damn good.
I never would have guessed you'd be drinking a single barrel.
Oh, I know, right?
So out of character. Goodness. Well, at
Sarcasm is
8:30,
fun.
we're going to draw for the 2 samples. I know we have some folks online waiting for those, so that's coming up at 8:30. How have you guys? This is the thing that I don't understand yet how it's going to work for me because I have so much whiskey I don't buy that often. Have you maintained your whiskey buying, or you change your habits any? Because I've talked to our distributor through Foregate, and I know a little bit about what the trends are. But I'm just kind of curious about what the people who are really into it. How has your whiskey buying changed?
Mine's
Anyone who's on the live chat who wants to comment on that?
Mine's pretty much screeched to a halt, to be honest. I did buy a bottle today. Westport dropped a single barrel, 4 Roses barrel strength. It was I think it was an OESK. It was 11-year-old.
What's that?
I think it's a what?
What's that you say?
Yeah. I might be able to get you one.
I have to be over that a ways tomorrow.
Saying.
But yeah, I picked that up today, but I haven't really been buying anything. Yeah.
Matt?
I bought some stuff right
haven't
before
either.
everything got shut down, but yeah, I think it's the last thing I've bought, to be honest. I've been buying a lot of beer and a lot of wine, but not really any whiskey.
I went out and stocked up on a little. I stocked up on a little Evans Williams white label just to have some stuff I can drink without cracking into the other bottles. But I think where my habits have changed is I'm not walking into a liquor store and making some impulse buys.
Nick?
Actually, I was going to ask you guys, have you guys had this one,
Legent, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No.
I'm not sure how it was pronounced, but yeah, I picked that one up. Of course, I got a review sample of Wolf Moon.
Oh wow, okay.
I've been having a little bit of that. I'm kind of disappointed with it, if I'm being honest with you. I am preparing a review for the site for that, but and then of course I showed you guys I got the Yellow Rose Rye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
But like Gator was saying, I kind of have a few bottles of, like, let's say I call it stunt bourbon, but like.
So that's kind of I talked to our distributor from Foregate recently, and they said that they're basically doing Thanksgiving and Christmas level sales, but it's all predominantly kind of the biggest uptick has been in large format, so 1 liter, 1.75. They can't move enough of it. And it's mostly the standard flagship stuff. So it's your Evan Williams black and white label, Jim Beam, Maker's Mark, Jack Daniels. People are stocking up on that. They're not really buying a lot of the high-end stuff right now, of anything. That includes beer. So Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light, Budweiser, moving like crazy. Craft beer, not so much. Not so much.
No kidding.
I've heard the same thing, really. It's probably going to put a lot of craft breweries out of business, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Small producers, that's for sure.
There was a story that broke not too long ago. Well, so I'm on a couple of different bourbon groups on social media, shock of all shocks, and one of the Michigan groups, the Bourbon Lovers Michigan chapter. I saw a bunch of people posting that they were buying like 175s of 101 and things like that, which that's my go-to for any day. But what was coming down to, the comments that were surrounding it were, hey, I want to make sure I don't run out if they actually lock us in our houses for some reason. So they were buying up something that they'd be able to get by on if they actually. There were 2 comments. One was, in case they don't get the chance to go to the store again in the next 40 days, The other one was in case the social order breaks down and they need a different form of currency.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, that's how bottled and
shape
bond, got around.
I could be in good shape.
Right.
Yeah,
you might be okay.
I haven't bought much in a while because we just bottled 2 batches of 4-gate. So we've got this Calvin Collaboration 2, which should be coming out at least in Kentucky. I'm not sure what's going to happen in Tennessee right now because it's only curbside for liquor stores, so you can't go into a store at all there. So I'm not sure what they're buying down there at the moment, but that'll be coming out soon. So I got a bunch of those bottles for myself, and then we also bottled. This wasn't scheduled to come out until summer, but we might release a little bit earlier. That's our straight rye. 7-year straight rye.
Bill, you got to get me some, man. How do I procure this here in Houston?
That's a good question. Can you guys order online?
No, unfortunately, we can't.
If you're one of the states that doesn't allow it, you're going to be in tough situation. But luckily, you're a media member and on a certain media list, so you may at least get a sample of it.
Well, there you go.
So I haven't bought a lot because I've had a ton of that. But I have a couple of times I've stopped in, but both times that I've stopped into stores, I bought kind of cheaper stuff just because sometimes it gets a little old if you're just sitting around drinking barrel strength bourbon all the time. It doesn't get old, but sometimes you just need to kind of give yourself a break. You want something more refreshing. My thing is always to make a Kentucky Mule. So I mix it with diet ginger beer and splash lime juice, but I'm not going to use a 4-gate. I'm not going to use Elijah Craig barrel proof for that. So I like to buy a Larceny or Heaven Hill 6-year or something like that. I love to buy the 1.75s of any of that. So I'm in kind of the same boat everyone else is. That's the stuff that I've been buying in the stores, and everything else I really haven't.
Yeah.
Bourbon on the rise.
Yeah. It's kind of sad. I kind of miss it. I miss, browsing the aisles and seeing what's out there. This single barrel 4 Roses, I haven't gotten one in a long time. It's piqued my interest there, Timothy. So I may have to drop in tomorrow. But I'm out there.
Alrighty.
It just so happens that it is 8:28, which means that in 2 minutes we're drawing for these samples. Again, the 2 samples that we're drawing for tonight. That's the Elijah Craig A120 barrel proof.
Nick has to go handle some business.
He can't handle the suspense. So we've got a 2-ounce sample of that to go out, and we've got a 2-ounce sample of this Heaven Hill Select Stock Kentucky Straight Bourbon finished in used coffee barrel. This is a 90 proof. It is a 6-year-old bourbon, 6.5 years old, and it is, it's Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey aged for 6 years and then finished in Good Folks Coffee Company bourbon barrel, aged cold brew coffee for an additional 2 weeks. Wow. It is. You can smell it on the nose. I'll tell you that. I'm going to send it out. I haven't done a review of this yet, but I'm going to shortly, and I'm going to wait till after the sample of this goes out, obviously, and then I'll do a review. And we'll see if it's any good. But it just so happens that it's time. So I've got my random list over here, and I'm going to go randomize. I've got everyone's name, including I've seen a couple of them on the chat today. So I'm going to go ahead and randomize. So we're going to do the coffee one first. Heaven Hill Select Stock is Jimmy Bowling.
Yeah, man. Way to go.
All right,
Jimmy.
So Jimmy, if you're on the chat, go ahead and say yay or something like that. Otherwise, I'm going to send that out to you. I've got your address from your purchase of the coin, so you're just going to get it. You don't have to do anything. I'll just send it out to you. Second one is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A120.
Oh, you said one. Oh, there we go.
All right. So
audio cutting
Albert Kwasnick, Kwasnik. I believe he was from New York. So we'll get that out to Albert. Oh, there he is. There's Jimmy, right?
Yeah.
I actually need to write these down before I forget the names. That would kind of be bad, wouldn't it?
That's the benefit of having this recorded, William.
Good point there.
Yeah. So interesting development since we're sort of in the middle of topics right this minute. The state of Michigan just offered to all of its restaurants to buy back the alcohol that's sitting in their stores, like not the stores, but in like on a restaurant, on a bar. So
Bill, as a taxpayer, I think that means that it should be you should get a claim to that.
Right.
I mean, I was just saying, if somebody from Michigan is watching and y'all have like a Weller 107 that I can't seem to find, I'll help you with that. I'll buy it off of you. Don't send it back to state.
I did actually see that on the news, Bill Scott. That actually made the news here in Houston. So
yeah, I'm not surprised. That's it seems to be kind of a big deal because it's millions and millions of dollars. Obviously, we have 8,500 restaurants and bars, throughout the state of Michigan. I'm not saying that's more than other places, and just in general, it's a lot. That's a lot of businesses that are hurting, and this is effectively a retroactive loan. So
right.
It's an interesting way to try and solve a problem.
Hopefully, somebody maybe some of that too.
Or maybe they could let them open up in some capacity and sell it actually to people that would like to have it.
Yeah, maybe. That probably won't happen until after April 30th for us because they put a pretty firm line in the sand on that. And I think that I believe we'll end up extending that by about a week after that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
This Legion, by the way, I just want to say, I don't know if you guys have ever had it, but actually pretty good. My first time.
I've tried it. I don't remember. I had it at a bar, and I'd had probably 5 or 6 different things. Actually, I may have had it at Tim's tasting bar. I don't think Timothy was actually the one working at the time. I'm pretty sure I had it at Westport Whiskey and Wine. Did you guys have that on the bar?
Finished Jerry Cast, so that's pretty cool.
I definitely poured it for you at least once.
Yeah, I think I did have it with Tim. I think I had it with you when I came in with Scott Page.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had it there. We're gonna try something a little special. This is a barrel sample. This isn't ready for bottling yet, but this is the same whiskey that's in our foundation. This was 5 months in a dark rum barrel.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'll take a pour.
No.
Wow.
Oh, that's glorious.
Oh my God. No
Where's
way.
my sample?
That's all there is of it right
No
now,
way.
other than what's still in the barrel.
Dude,
That's two fantastic ideas.
that's just horrible. You know what's funny is I'm not trying to spend too much time looking at the monitor, but I don't know if you guys caught this. I can't stop with the freaking face touching thing. I know we're not supposed to touch faces. Like if I didn't have gallons of freaking hand sanitizer around, I'd be absolutely hosed.
I know it.
I gotta ask Bill how his hair still looks so damn fresh.
You missed the beginning.
How
I
about
asked
what?
people if you've taken up any new. Are you talking to me or to?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I asked
Robbie.
everybody if you'd picked up any new hobbies, and one of my new hobbies was cutting my own hair.
Yes, barber.
Okay.
That was
okay.
a heck of a bowl.
Are you satisfied with how it turned out?
I am. It's honestly not that different than times when I've had a kind of a zero fade, a high zero fade before.
Okay.
Which I've had many times in the
What's that
last
name?
year or two.
So
And,
I usually cut my own hair. Like my day job was before I dived headfirst into this bourbon shit. Was a barber. I've been a barber for I guess like 7 years, and
Wow.
2020 is like the first year I haven't been like actively doing it full time. So I was like, I'll cut my own hair here and there. And it's like, hey, I'm due for a haircut, and started to cut my hair and wasn't paying attention. The guard wasn't on the clipper, and
Oh no.
I scalped myself right here,
Yeah.
almost all the way down. And I was like, I'm just gonna leave it and let it grow out and then try again. So I have a pretty fucked up haircut right now. So I'm pretty jealous that you look so damn fresh.
It kind of got. I was talking early on that my hair is unfortunately all growing up I had really thick hair to the point where it was almost unmanageable. It was so thick, and it's gotten to the point now where the hair on top of my head is so thin it doesn't ever build any body. but on the side of my head grows. On the side of my head, it just grows straight outward. So I also have an abnormally large head. It might be hard to tell at times because I'm also very large in the body, so it looks somewhat proportional. But if I get a fitted hat, I have to get like an 8 3/4 to fit it. So when that hair grows, I can't wear a hat at all. So it drives me nuts when I have hair on the side of my head. So I always get like the high zero fade or get it cut really short on the sides. So I don't mind this type of haircut. It actually, from a practical standpoint, is what I kind of have to do. Something similar to this. I can go a little shorter on top, but you'd see through to my scalp because it's not really that thick anymore. I'm in the early stages of probably not balding so much as thinning very severely. My mom's hair is very thin all over, and her dad's hair was actually, he had a full head of hair, but his son, my uncle, has very thin hair on top, but never, rarely completely bald.
Well, that's good.
Let me ask you guys.
I'm biding my time. It's been I fought the good fight for a long time, but I'm losing. I'm in full retreat right now. right in this area right here.
Yeah, not so much here or here, but like right around here.
Not much here,
right in this.
Not here.
This.
But here.
I'm like, I looked at my wife. I'm like, this is what it'll look like if I get out the razor. She goes, better, damn not.
I compensate by trying to grow a beard when I also have a pretty mediocre beard, but at this point I can't be a pasty, round, bald dude with no facial hair either. So
I don't know who you're calling pasty and round, but I don't appreciate it.
Well, you have a whiskey company, so you have that going for you.
I kind of have to have a beard then if I own a brewery or a whiskey company, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a given.
I do want to send a shout out to Third Turn. They're still selling some crowlers and some growlers out of their Jeffersontown brewery right now.
Third Turn, I feel like Third Turn is killing it. I keep getting like constant updates on how they put a new keg on. Like I haven't been over there, so I know what's going on, but damn, he is.
I've known the owner for a few years, and their brewer, not new, their brewer is a good friend of mine that I've known for a long time, and we actually have a collaboration with them that was supposed to, ironically, Friday was supposed to be our big release party on that, where we gave them one of our 5.5-year barrels and one of our 12 years, and they aged a porter in each of them, and then we were going to have both of our batches that have those two whiskeys in them there for their tapping of the keg, and we were going to have, you could taste the two kegs because there's 5.5-year and a 12-year, and then the two whiskeys that have that in it as well. But COVID-19 fucked us, so not happening.
Fucked everybody, man.
Yeah, right in the ear.
We're gonna ask again. Talk about this wolf moon that Bill had so graciously sent to my house for a review. I just want to ask you guys, get in the consensus of the room here. It's made by apparently 3 famous country musicians, right? Jason Aldean and 2 guys from the Turnpike Troubadours. When you think of country, or outlaws and that whole thing, Houston Outlaws, rep to them. But you think of that thing, what proof would you actually have your whiskey be at? Just out of curiosity, what would everybody say? Like, you're gonna make some outlaw bourbon, some country boy bourbon.
It would either be 100 or barrel proof, I would think.
Barrel proof?
100 or barrel.
At least, at least nothing under 100 proof.
I would think 100 proof because that bottled and bond was very popular in frontier type of towns because it was you knew exactly what was in it, and in some places you could go to a post office and exchange it for a lot of times post offices were also your general store. You could exchange a bottle of bottle and bond bourbon for a specific amount of goods at a post office in some places back in the day, from what I've read. So I would guess that, or just straight off the still, or
what about Gator
barrel proof.
I would have said 100 proof too. I'm sure you're going to say 80 now after all this.
What about you, Bill Scott? Uh-oh, I think your mic got a cut off there, buddy.
Yeah, I think he's been talking for a while, and we have not been able to hear him.
Bill Scott, we can't hear you.
Muted there.
No.
Can't hear you, man. Sorry,
nothing.
I thought our audio just got suddenly so much better. I didn't understand what was happening there. I'm going to mute his mic just to fuck with him. Bill, fix it. All right.
But
Let's
yeah, I
move
think
on.
you probably have to be at least 90 on the Outlaw. I agree, though. Barrel proof or 100 is the right answer.
I would accept anything north of 100. 100 or north.
Well, they did it not only at 80 proof.
Those fuckers.
It wasn't even from Kentucky. It's MGP. It's Indiana.
What's wrong with MGP?
I like MGP.
But if you think of outlaw whiskey, the outlaw Kentucky bourbon, boy, it's Kentucky, man.
Even Outlaw would have been. Outlaw
they
probably
used
would have been
bourbon,
some rot gut whiskey out in or tequila out west or something like that.
Outlaw bourbon to me is Kentucky bourbon. Just
I will accept that. I will always accept people who love Kentucky bourbon above others. I appreciate a lot of other places. There are some places up in Michigan that are making some great bourbon these days. MGP, I think MGP is one of the top 4 or 5 producers in the country, to be honest. They're better than a lot of Kentucky places, and they're better than almost all the craft. There's a few new craft that are just awesome out there, but there's been a number of places around now that are making great stuff. Wyoming can make a pretty good whiskey. Wyoming whiskey.
What's that?
The Grand Traverse was really good.
What's that place in
Traverse City? Yeah.
In Oregon, Woodlandville.
Yeah, that's been really popular lately. I haven't tried
Dude,
that yet.
That stuff is fucking incredible. So I think it was like a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago now, I got one of their single barrel proofs that you could only get at the distillery, and someone sent it to me, and that thing was fucking fantastic. I think their distillate's probably like 8 or 9 years old now. It's
yeah. I heard about that, and it kind of blew my mind because someone was, I want to say it was My Bourbon Journey, and some of those places were really talking it up. And I kept thinking, come on, it's just another one of these, it's just another one of these new craft distilleries putting out some 3 and 4 year old stuff. And they mentioned it was like 7 or 8 years old. I said, there's no way. And I looked it up, and sure enough, they've been distilling for like 9 years out there. I mean, so I've got to get a bottle of that.
They have a really cool thing too. They have their rick house is built in the mountains, and because they have such huge fluctuations with their temperatures in the mountains, they're actually able to mimic the same kind of temperature fluctuations we have here in Kentucky. And I would actually put up their barrel strength up against some barrel strengths from here in Kentucky. It really was something special.
Well, again, I like that idea too, that you can get good whiskey from other places. Shout out Yellow Rose here in Houston.
Sure, absolutely.
But still, I mean, if you talk to me about, you say bourbon, there are only 2 places in the world that I'll even consider it that. That's Kentucky, and that's also Virginia. Because Kentucky was a part of Virginia at one point in our time. Other than that, no. Everywhere else, we make it pretty good. But bourbon is a Kentucky thing. It just is.
It's kind of the thing we do best. And I will say that the best bourbon comes out of Kentucky. But I will say that MGP makes fantastic bourbon. State of Tennessee has several places that make great bourbon. I mean, legally, Jack Daniel's is a bourbon, and their barrel proof is as good as anything on the street.
True. They even choose not to refer to it as bourbon. They consider their thing with the Lincoln County process and all of that be separate. That's fine.
They do. They can consider it, but it is bourbon by law.
It's only not bourbon because it doesn't want to be bourbon.
Yeah.
True.
So I mean, they could change the
Only
label
reason
tomorrow and
it
call it
doesn't
bourbon.
want to be bourbon.
But anyway,
and I think that's also out of respect to you guys.
I mean, but Dickel makes some good stuff down there. Chattanooga makes some good stuff down there. There's a lot of places now that have figured out that you can make good stuff. Now, I will say the best is still that 7, 8, 9-year-old Kentucky bourbon, and occasionally older if you find the cherry barrels of it. But the best stuff is I always say this. People kind of poo on the big distillers sometimes and what they do. And I'll say Jim Beam didn't get to be Jim Beam because they make shit. Right. You can get some Jim Beam that doesn't taste great because they put it out really young or something like that, or they're picking their old Overholt out of the worst warehouses or something. I think Bill Scott's back with us, but they didn't become who they are by being terrible. Hey, Bob D'Antoni has joined us. Bob D'Antoni
hey,
is my
man.
partner at Foregate.
Awesome.
Hey,
Hey.
thanks, Phil. I just got that email. I was on a couple of family calls, and I didn't see that you sent it over to me.
No
Thanks
worries.
for inviting me in.
No worries. We are live on YouTube right now.
Oh, cool.
So we've got 4 of us on here now. Bill Scott, another one of our writers up in Detroit. He's about to rejoin. He had some technical issues.
There we
There's
go.
Bill Scott. Bill, we've been joined by my business partner, Bob D'Antoni, a good friend of mine here in Louisville, who's a Foregate with me.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, how's it going? I'm just
All
showing
right.
you some of the bottles.
Look at that flex. Look at that flex.
That's bourbon porn right there.
I'm pretty sure this isn't a belt measurement tour, but fine.
I really wish I had a beer down here with me right now. I'm just in the mood for a cold beer.
I don't know anything about that.
But in the meantime, I'm going to shift to some ECBP.
Hey, did Bill update you guys with all of our great news today?
Some of it, most likely.
We got our whiskey advocate score on the foundation batch. It's got a 93.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
we're 4 for 4 on 90-point whiskeys. We're pretty excited about it.
No
But,
kidding.
Bill.
Yeah,
That's a good run, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I think
We know
batch
whiskey,
6
man.
is
You
going to
did do
continue
that.
the trend. It's really good. I think 6 and 7 are both going to be right above that, probably in that same range, 90 and 93.
How much of those scores costing you?
Every dime we own. They only ask us to buy like 7 full-page ads per issue. I don't know.
Have you seen our full-page ads? We're buying them in Wine Spectator and Cigar Aficionado.
There you go.
Oh,
Cigar
no,
Aficionado.
we are not.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are ballers.
No, we are.
Big
We are
ballers.
definitely not.
Yeah.
We've done minimal advertising. Most of what we do is word of mouth, social media. We were at the Bourbon Classic this year. That was a lot of fun. Tim came and helped us out with that too.
Yeah,
it was a lot of
fantastic.
fun, and hopefully you guys can all come in sometime if we continue to do that every year. Assuming
Yeah,
there's
I mean,
ever
if
a
we
day
have
when
another
this virus isn't shutting everything down.
lot
Right,
of
I was gonna
booze,
say.
a lot of food, a lot of good
The
times.
food was crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
The food was
Yeah, it
insane.
was.
You
Yeah.
need to go there and not eat. Go there and not eat, not drink, just eat. That was
Yeah.
incredible.
No joke. It was
the
nuts.
It was the best part of the night. Usually, I always like the Friday event more, the food and cocktail pairing. But this year, food they had such good food. They only had maybe 8 different things to choose, little plates.
Yeah,
But they
probably
were
so.
fantastic, and some of them were. You eat 2 of them, you're full.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
They had
I mean,
some that
they-
were like full
Yeah,
on like lamb shank dinners with carrots and potatoes and oh man, it was kick ass. It was awesome. It was a good time.
Remember those days when we could gather in crowds like that? And
Those were the days.
Yeah,
Those were the days.
good times, good times.
goodness gracious.
Good Lord, seriously.
But
Well, we'll get back there.
I tell you what, this Elijah Craig A20. Tim, we
Dude,
did
that's a kick ass. Yeah.
we did the previous batch review of that from Modern Thirst. This is a good one. I think
Yeah,
I
you
like
like that one
120 or
better?
120?
I like this more than C the 19.
Oh,
I thought that was the
820.
one we reviewed.
The C what was it? We did the C. Was it 519?
I feel like we did that one. I feel like we did the one you're drinking right now.
We didn't. I got this one more recently.
Which
Okay.
one was it, Bill?
This is the A120 that I'm drinking right now. And we did the C. What's the third batch every year? It's
C9.
C5, right?
C9. It goes
No, I got the
A1,
C919.
B5, C9.
We did the C919.
Yeah, I got the C919 here.
Yeah, that was the first one where it went back up to the really high proof, and then this one is
Yeah.
around the same 136.6. I want to say it was
Okay.
1.8 for the 919. This one
Hey,
is
guys, that's a great idea. Let's have Wes pick out. I'm kidding.
yeah. Wes couldn't today. He actually sent some notes over that I want to mention that he said about his. Let's see here.
Hey, Bill, what about the A119?
I don't know that I had that one. I don't remember, to be honest. I've never had that one, so
it's 135. It's 135.2 proof.
So Wes sent some notes about things that he would have talked about if he could have made it today. He's got a lot of work stuff going on. He's a busy man right now. He had his Proper Pour Whiskey Club meeting. They did it virtually on Zoom, and because they were doing it virtually, he asked me to join them, and it was a lot of fun. I'd never been part of that before. It was a rye tasting, and it went 3 hours. It was the longest thing that I have ever been a part of in front of my computer, I think. But it was a lot of fun, a lot of whiskey I'd never had before.
So many comments I'm not going to make right now.
But he's also been reading a lot of historical works on pandemics, being that he is a historian by academic major.
Really?
And he hasn't been purchasing much lately. But he has enough. He's calculated that he has enough whiskey in his collection to last him to 2040.
There you go.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah.
And he's working on bottle kills of anything that has less than a quarter left in the bottle right now. He currently has 102 total open bottles.
I mean, why not just open up those 3x3, inches of space and just start getting rid of the empties?
He needs to start drinking earlier each day.
Well, he's out in Colorado, so he's also he works for the school system. So I think he's got to wait until those hours are done. Any of his hours with that, but so right now it was basically we started at 6 o'clock his time.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the coaches and teachers and all of that out there, man. They're getting beat up right now for really no fault of their own.
So Nick, you're Central Time, right, Houston?
I am. Yes, sir.
All right, that makes it a little bit easier then. That I wanted to start a little earlier. We try to cut these off at about an hour, and then half the time, a bunch of us hang out here and just kind of chat about what's going on for another half an hour. And when we start that at 9:30, that gets a little past my bedtime, so I wanted to do a little more reasonable.
Aww.
We started
West.
West.
Anything else better than you? I'm sorry.
It was tough. It was tough. Tim, we're losing your video there, buddy.
I don't know. That feels intentional. Tim, what you doing?
He said, speaking of time in front of the computer.
It's all good.
Is that where you went with that comment, Bill?
Oh my goodness. So Bobby, one of the things we asked is this whole quarantine thing and people staying in, has it changed your whiskey buying habits?
Yeah, I'm drinking all of our product that you've given me. And I bought maybe 3 bottles in the last month, and they were all just replacement. Some of the staples that I've got on the rye side. Bought some more High West, some more Peerless, some of the new Old Forester 100 proof rye, and I think I got a couple other bottles of. I think I found a bottle of Michter's somewhere, and when I bought one of our partners at Kelvinville, those couple bottles about 2 weeks ago, I picked up some more of that minor case rye sherry finish and the James Pepper sherry finished rye as well. And other than that, I haven't bought anything. I'm drinking my collection.
David Fishburn says that Old Forester 100 proof rye has to be one of the best values around, and I agree. That thing is going to stay in my bar pretty much forever at this point. I can drink it and be happy.
That's insane That's insane.
Really?
You can get it sometimes for $18.99 to $22.
Yeah.
It's crazy good. You know what really gets me on that is the Elijah Craig came out at the same time. Now they don't sell that in Kentucky, but I was very lucky to get a media bottle of that. I don't care for it. And the timing could not have been worse for Elijah Craig to put that out within about a month of the Old Forester coming out, because every person on the planet is going to be doing a side by side of those, because both of them are under $30, and they're going to do a side by side and say, which one do I need on my bar?
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be. It's probably not going to be the Elijah Craig if you're choosing between the two. For a lot of people, there is for me, overwhelming spearmint on that Elijah Craig, which probably for everyone else means overwhelming dill. For some reason, I guess I taste spearmint. Everyone else tastes dill in rye. It's just a weird quirk of my palate, but I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine they're going to be real thrilled with how that goes.
Well,
I think he might be. I think the chat is probably just about 30 seconds behind the live video that we're seeing.
It's about a 10 count behind us.
Yeah. So David, you're drinking the right one if you're stocking up on the Old Forester rye. It's the right one to get. Elijah Craig is okay at best, I think. I actually, from my palate, thought it was flawed. It was way heavy on spearmint to the point where I didn't like it. It tasted like almost like a Scope mouthwash or something like that.
See, I like rye like that, but I'd still agree with you, Bill. Old Forester, their rye is fantastic. It just really is very good. Very great value product too. So
I just think you can't go wrong with them. I don't think they make a bad whiskey. Old Forester 86 is just kind of like standard bourbon to me. I mean, part of it is because I've said this a million times. I mean, you guys have always heard it. If you grow up in Louisville, it's the house bourbon at every wedding you've been to since you were 5 years old. So anytime you steal of it, if you're at a party, there's always a bottle of it. So if you're 15 and you're stealing a drink, chances are, if it was bourbon, it was Old Forester 86. So as far as I'm concerned, what does bourbon taste like? Drink a bottle of Old Forester 86. That's just standard bourbon. Everything that is my baseline. Is it better or worse? How much better?
And actually, back when I first started drinking, this almost 20 years ago, but when I first started drinking, Old Forester here in Houston was like $11. Evan Williams, not much less than that. So my go-to back in those days, even here in Houston, was Old Forester. And then Evan Williams after that. So
about 20 years ago, you started drinking. That's about the same time Bob started drinking, right?
Yeah. So you can get the other one that's going to be really good from Old Forester that they've already kind of set the teases out on it. Was they're going to do an Old Forester barrel proof that's going to be like 125 or 126 on the rye, and they're also going to do one on the barrel proof on the just the regular Old Forester, because they want to get into that foolproof market.
Well, they do that. President's is, it borders on like pretty good to knock your socks off, like George T. Stagg married fell in a cherry tree or something like that. Good.
What do you mean this?
Anything Old Forester can do.
That's knock your socks off.
Anything Old Forester can do this barrel proof, I'm in on it. So don't get me wrong. I am on it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of Old Forester as a brand because, up in Michigan, I started on bourbon down at UK, but I kind of latched onto one or two bourbons that I knew and liked and stuck with them. But I stumbled across Old Forester, no pun intended, about 2 years ago, and I have not found a single variant that I didn't like. Now, I haven't tried all of them, but the ones that I've tried have been solid bottles. Like, I never feel like I got screwed on that bottle price, ever.
You're never going to pick up an Old Forester and think this doesn't taste good. Now, the one thing I'll say is that the older single barrels they did, the 90 proof, some of those I didn't care for. There was a Bourbon Society pick here in Louisville, 2 in a row of it, as a matter of fact, and they were the most tannic, woody, weird things at night. I understand a lot of tannins if it's an old whiskey, if it's if it's right out of the barrel, but when it's watered down to 90 proof and it's only 5 years old and it's the most tannic, just dusty wood flavor, something's wrong there, and I can't believe they picked those barrels, to be honest, from the Bourbon Society.
Those barrels were made out of Grandpa's dusty old cottage.
It tastes like your
cottage.
No,
cottage.
Gross, man.
So anyway,
this is just a little distillery news for you guys. I was talking to one of the brokers that Bill and I sourced some whiskey from, and he said, "Hey man, I want to give you a heads up. the Jim Rutledge distillery has been delayed again. They're still not going to break ground. They haven't gone anywhere. I said, they haven't done anything in 2 years. They've got site plans and designs. He goes, well, no, but now it's officially delayed and they're not going to break ground. I'm like, I don't know what that means. And
Like,
I don't know
all?
if you guys follow any of that or not, but Jim Rutledge is trying to open his own distillery. It's like an Art Deco distillery out in Oldham or Shelby County. Spending about $35 or $40 million on the build. And I don't think he can get any of the capital. And I talked to Bill and I's one of our brokers today for about 15 minutes, and he was raving about it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes of the call. So I just thought I'd bring it up to you guys. I don't know if you hear any of that on the undercover side of this market of the bourbon. Bill and I just kind of have a relationship with this guy that he sold a lot of whiskey to him, and he was just bringing it up to me. I thought I'd share it with you guys.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
though. Like, his name was so marketable. Like, why did they not rush to get that out? Like, I mean, why has it been so long?
There's a lot of reasons that it's been tough for him. I don't want to get into too many of them on this format, but there's a lot of reasons where it's been tough, and some of it is just that he's got very big designs and it's a big project and it takes a lot of money. There's a risk there.
Yeah.
We are at an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and let everybody sign off and let everybody know where they can find us. Again, I'm at Bill Straub. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and most importantly, you can find 4Gate. So it's 4_Gate on Twitter and 4Gate at Instagram and all the fun stuff. So we're at 4gatewhiskey.com, and you can check us all out at ModernThirst.com as well. We're modern_thirst on Twitter. Gator.
Yeah, I'm at Gator Matt on Twitter.
Nick.
At Flaggers on Twitter. And love you guys. Always a good time hanging out with y'all. Stay safe. Don't do anything crazy.
Other Bill.
You're the other Bill, little brother. I can be found at Modern Thirst in our general mailbox. Anything you guys send that way, Bill will send it my way. And y'all be safe out there.
Bobby.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm at Bob at 4gatewhiskey.com. And you can reach me out there or reach me through Bill. And we're just trying to make some good whiskey and share it with you guys. And be well, everybody, and stay safe. And pray for those people that that might have COVID or have tested positive. We really appreciate your prayers.
Amen.
No doubt.
Amen.
Amen.
And Mr. Single Barrel Snob himself.
Timothy, good old Timothy Van Riper. You can find me on Instagram at Single Barrel Snob. Also, if you are in the Louisville metro area and after all this shit is over, you want to come over to my house and drink some bourbon, seriously, leave me a message either through Modern Thirst or on Instagram and come over and drink, because you are all more than welcome.
He's not even kidding.
Hey,
I'm putting that in the calendar.
I'm really not.
I'll bring some 4Gate samples to your house.
That sounds fantastic.
Of the future batches. And
Bobby, we're going to need to know what date that is.
Hey, everybody, raise your glass, guys. Cheers.
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 Thanks so much for watching. If you're watching live or if you're watching the recorded version of this on YouTube, check us out. Again, the coins are available. We're giving away a bottle of 4Gate Foundation Batch 5. Once we sold all those coins, the next time we do one of these, we'll do a couple more sample bottles of something we'll pull off the shelf that 4Gate's either gotten for media reviews or something that I've got on my shelf here. But it'll always be something interesting and something fun. So that's ModernThirst.com/shop. But thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys stay safe. And let's get through this all together here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. Be safe.